friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Hasfa with Preston Every Design. For many of you who've been watching, you know by now I do have a small business where I sell items that I make or items that I flip for resale. And so the thing about being a DIYer is that often inspiration strikes, you start a project, but then you get distracted, and by the time you're ready to come back to it, you've lost all the motivation. So then you sit it to the side and then somehow you never get to it. And before you know it, you look around and you are buried in a mountain of unfinished projects. So I am in that mountain right now, or on that mountain I should say. Today's video, I'm going to tackle 10 of my unfinished projects. Yes, I do have at least 10 that need to be finished. So the video will be quick. I'll be zooming through them because most of them I've already started working on. I just need to finish them, get them out of the garage and get them sold. So come along and let's tackle these unfinished projects.
For our first project, I have these blocks of wood that are left over from some pallet wood projects I did a while back. They've been sitting in a tin on top of a surface in my workshop, and I was about ready to toss them, but then this wonderful idea came to mind. So I thought I would turn them into little planters, and all I'm doing is attaching them together using some glue and my brad nail. And once I'm done, I am now attaching the bottom. I always find that it's easier to get these measurements correct if you do the bottom last. Now, when I do cut my bottoms, I always cut them a little bigger than I need to and kind of force them into place. I feel that they are more secure this way. So I'm using my hammer just to hammer it into place, and it's a nice tight fit. And once I'm done, I will then reinforce it with the brad nailer to make sure it doesn't fall out. And of course I had to sand this down. You guys know by now I hate sanding, but it must be done. And once I was done sanding these, I gave them a fresh coat of white paint that was left over from a previous project. Now I'm not very concerned about getting full coverage because I'm going to cover these in some decoupage paper, but I wanted them to have a white base to start with because I didn't want this raw wood to show through the transparent paper. They're all done. I am now measuring out my decoupage paper. I get this from Amazon. It comes in a pack of 3, and I will link it in the description below if you are interested. Now I am going to cut this to size to fit my box, and then I'm going to attach it using this top coat from Urethane. Now I like using this because I feel that it's much cheaper than some of the decoupage mediums out there. And I feel that it's actually a lot more durable. It's kind of like extra strength compared to the decoupage mediums. So I like using this, and I use my sponge from the dollar store and it works perfectly. If you've not done this, try it. It even works well with Mod Podge. And here are all 4 of my boxes complete. The next step is my favorite step, is putting some flowers inside them. Now I wanted to go for a French country theme, so I am using pink and white flowers. Now the flowers I'm using come from Amazon as well. They're beautiful roses made from I think it's rubber. It's like a rubbery material, but they look really pretty in person and they're very nice to the touch. The store on Amazon is called Ling's Moment. They're a bridal store. So I will link them below if you're looking for some of these. They look really good in person. Our next project number 2, I have this fabric wreath that I made from 100% cotton fabric that I got from the thrift store. I love this fabric. It's got these little blue bows that are so cute. So I'm gonna see if I can do something with it. I've always wanted to do a sign wreath, a sign but with a wreath attached. Yes, so I have this sign that I've already put together that was also just sitting in the pile. I used some fence board. I had already painted it white and I had planned to do something with it. I just never got to it. So I think it would be the perfect thing to use for this project. Now I'm using a blue paint because I want to bring out some of the blue in the fabric. The color blue I'm using is called Dragonfly by Bear, but it was a little too dark, so I added some white to it just to lighten it up, and then I just applied it on top of this sign. And once my sign was ready, I wanted to put the word hello because I picture that someone could hang this in the entryway, and I'm just using a stencil and some chalk paint by Dixie Belle. Now I've found that Dixie Belle chalk paint works really well for stenciling because it's really nice and thick, so you have less chances of bleeding your stencils. And once I was finished, I just attached the wreath using a nail, and here it is. I love the simplicity and the rusticness of this. Oh, while I was at it, I made another one because I liked the idea so much. Now I used some buffalo plaid fabric that's left over from when I made Christmas stockings this past Christmas. Okay, so for project number 3, I have this little tray that I had also painted. And so to finish this up, I'm just gonna stencil it, and that would be all. You know, it makes me wonder why I never finish these projects, because it's so easy to finish this up. But I think it's just the lack of inspiration, and so you have to act when inspiration strikes. So after putting my stencil down, I am now distressing the edges just to give it some character. And that's all, and project number 3 is done. Before, I have these mason jars and this little cutty. Now they didn't come together. I just decided that I'll put them together because these jars fit in here perfectly. Now I had already painted these, they just needed some florals, and that's all it took to finish this project. 5, 6, and 7, I'm going to show them to you at the same time because I worked on them at the same time. So I have this set of 4 coasters that I already painted white that never got finished. And then I have this tray that Mr. Net gave me. It was originally wood and had some kind of ceramic tile design. And then I have these 2 owls that are bookends. I've also had in my stash painted white. Today they're all going to be finished. So I took them outside and I gave them a base coat of black paint. And I'm putting black first so that when I distress my top coat, this black will seep through to give a really nice vintage look. Now I'm painting these the same color, and that's why I'm working on them at once. Now once my black coat is dry, I'm using this beautiful blue. It's called Gingham by Bear. It's a spray chalk paint. It's one of my favorite colors to use, and so I'm just covering everything in this beautiful color. And then I'm going to add white wax to the owls. I'm going to distress the coasters and the tray and seal them, and that would be all for these projects. So for my wax, I'm taking the white wax and I'm actually putting some white paint in it. I find that the white wax is not really white, it's more creamy, and so by adding the white paint it really becomes a white wax. So I'm going to apply this onto my owls very nicely and evenly, and then I'm going to wipe it back just to make those white details pop. And these turned out so cute. I really love them. For the coasters, I'm using a wet distress method, but first I'm using a sponge. Just it has a much rougher back on it because I let this paint sit too long, so it got a little bit too dry for wet distressing. And all I'm doing is pulling some of that black back, and I put a stencil on the coffee tray, and this is how that turned out. Now I sold these as a set. And so for project number 8, it's a custom order that was placed a while back, actually before the storm we had in February. And so I had made the best, but it had been sitting in the pile off to the side. And so today I'm going to go ahead and finish this wreath. It's for one of my favorite people in the world, Miss Elmer. So she wanted a cross wreath for her new front door because she's renovated the house after some of the damage she had from the storm. So the thing with wreaths is that you just have to keep layering. They'll look funny at first, but just keep layering them until you like what you see. And that's all it took for this project, and I actually mailed it to her the next day. So it was done and sold. For project number 9, I am taking this little saucer and this little candle stand. Now, I didn't start on these, but I had pulled them out with the intention to do this to them. I just never got to it, so they are also getting finished. All I'm doing is using my glue gun to remove the residue from the tags and just making sure that the two surfaces will adhere to each other perfectly. Now, I'm using E6000 glue because it's a permanent bond. And then I am going to weigh it down with a can of paint and wipe any spillage. And this is how this turned out. Now for project number 10, it's this little tray that I decoupaged with a napkin, painted green, attached some feet and stained them. Now I lost the footage of me working on this, but it was really simple. That's all I did. Now I know in the intro I told you I had 10 projects, and actually I lied. I had a plethora of projects. So as a bonus, I'm going to show you all the other projects that I finished that didn't get filmed. Enjoy.
Well friend, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I sure hope that I've inspired you to get in your workshop and tackle those unfinished projects and get them out there, guys. For every day that they sit in your workshop, that is money that you could be making. So get out there, push them out, get them done, and make some money. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.